Hello children, my name is Miss Stewart and today I'm going to read you a story from the Read and Share Bible. And the story I'm going to read is a continuation about Moses, and it's Did he make a mistake? The Israelite leader was angry. They thought Moses had made a big mistake. You made the king hate us even more. Moses talked to God. Why have you done this to my people? God answered, watch what I would do to the king. There's the angry Israelites, and there is Moses pleading with God. What do you think is going to happen to the mean king? Let's find out. God sent Moses and Aaron back to the king. Let God's people go, said Moses. Do a miracle, said the king. So Aaron threw down his walking stick, and his walking stick became a snake. Then the king's magicians threw down their sticks, and theirs became snakes too. But Aaron's snake swallowed them up all. God's power was definitely the strongest. Still, the king was so mean and said, no, your people cannot go. There's Aaron's walking stick. It's turned into a snake. And there's the snake. Can you see how fat he is? He's ate all the other snakes up. How would God rescue his people? Let's find out. God said to Moses, go and meet the king at the river. Tell him to let my people go. I will turn this river into blood. The king said, no. So Aaron hit the water with his walking stick, and the river turned to blood. It smelled awful, and there was no water to drink. There's Aaron who hits the water, and it all turns to blood and smelt very awful. Sometimes people just don't listen. What do you think is going to happen next? After 7 days, Moses went back to the king. Let my people go, said Moses. No, said the king. This time God sent frogs, and then everything was all covered with frogs, and you couldn't count it. The frogs went in the home, in the bed, in the food, and in the ovens. The frog was yucky, and they were everywhere. Can you see Moses talking to the king, and he's saying no, and all the place is covered with frogs. It's not very nice at all. How much more do you think they would take before the king let God's people go? Every time the king said no, things just got worse in Egypt. God sent little bitty gnats that crawled all over people. Next, he sent millions of flies. They were everywhere. Cows became sick and died. Then people became sick with big spots and sores. But the king still said no. Look at the people. There's a man covered up with, looks like all fleas all over him. And there's the flies, and there's a man down there with all boil all over his skin. Oh, poor little cow, it's dead. Can you guess what awful thing's going to happen next? Let's find out. Hail, locusts, and darkness. Next, God sent a storm. Big chunks of ice called hail crashed into the ground. Then hungry grasshoppers called locusts came. There were so many of them, people couldn't see the ground. The grasshoppers ate all the food. Then God sent darkness right into the middle of the day. The Egyptian couldn't see anything, but the king still said no. Look at the hail snow coming down and the grasshoppers. And look at the darkness, and the king still said no. Why do you think the king said no? Well, we'll find out in the next part of the story.